any moment.
Cool. It says live on Facebook, so are we live now?
We are live. Hello, hello. Welcome to Spirituality Gone Wild, Spark the G Vibe Sunday. I am Debbie G, and welcome. And I'm going to turn off the sound here as soon as it comes up. Welcome, Tom. And I say your last name, Birkenmeyer?
That's right, you got it.
Awesome. Welcome to Spirituality Gone Wild. I am so excited you're here tonight.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here. I have no idea what's in store for me. Ooh, the mystery.
The mystery. Well, you know what? That's how we do this. Give me just a moment here. I am so sorry. My computer's kind of free. There we go. Hi. I was like sitting here. My computer's like all frozen. So welcome everybody. Welcome Amethyst and Kimber. They're in the back room chat here, which is always really cool. And if you have any questions as we're going along, go ahead and post them. Tom, welcome. I'm going to have you introduce yourself after that we play Spark the G Vibe by Jamar Jett, and everybody popping on, can you please share? And this is going to be a fun, spontaneous thing, because that's what we love to do here on Spirituality Gone Wild. We love spontaneity. And I'm going to share my screen. All right. So please share. So if you go to your phone, Tom, you'll see it on that.
Anchor life. Get down and stay down.
Yeah, I know you're going through some things. I am too. But matter of fact, be full of gratitude. Thank you for what you do have. Yeah. Spark that G5. G5 on the G5. That's the vibe that I like. In love with my whole life. Even when it don't seem right. Show gratitude all day and night. What I have is alright. You feel it inside. When you spark that G5, I'm taking off. I'll fly. You probably wanna know. Just a soul cat when you think it's too much. Better mold that, ain't gotta say it so you're more than a flesh of bones. Macaulay Culkin home alone. Never feel alone. All seven chakras feel my tone. In your zone, feel my tone. I'm all in your zone. Listen 3 times. Like Tony, at least 3 times. Like Tony. Vibe on the G vibe. That's the vibe that I like. In love with my whole life. Even when it don't seem right. Show gratitude all day and night. What I have is alright. You feel it inside. When you spark that G vibe. Better check it inside your past. It's your past life. Live in the present moment. The rest of your life gotta change your attitude. Ask yourself what's wrong with you. Always right with you. Show that love attitude along with that gratitude. Don't be mad at you. Bless you like hurt you. Can't nobody hurt you or ever desert you. Man, I need a tattoo. Spark that G vibe. That's what I'm into. Forget about the issues. Use up all the tissues. Love what I've been through. It's nothing that I can't do. Love the new point of view. I'm colder than some ice cubes. Sitting in my cup of brew. Bad chick Cancun. Slipping off her sandals. Blowing out the candles. She spreading like an eagle. Touchdown Randall. Do the G5 and she don't need no handles. Switch it like Kyrie. Lucky for my handles. We in love it. We don't need no labels. I'm grateful for it cause she know I'm able. Thoroughbred, no stable. We connect, I'm a guy like cable. Fun and Jim Carrey. Say she wanna marry. If I do, it's a rap on top cherry. Got gratitude for being patient with me. I can be your bodyguard, you can be my G5 on the G vibe. That's the vibe that I like. In love with my whole life. Even when it don't seem right. Show gratitude all day and night. What I have is alright. You
Oops, I have to turn that down. There we go. There's our Spark the G Vibe Roger Marjet. Was that the coolest thing?
Sure.
I love that. You know what? Some people are into rap and some aren't. You know,
I was dancing.
Were you dancing?
I was dancing.
I think that's such a fun little like way to, you know, get into Spark the G Vibe Sunday, which is all about our gratitude vibration. And that's the exciting part about gratitude, because it's the vibration of it. So, Tom, welcome to Spirituality Gone Wild. Why don't you share with everybody who you are and where you are at right now?
Well, I'm Tom Birkenmeyer. I have my own .com, tombirkenmeyer.com, so you can visit me there too. So who am I? I'm a guy that loves time freedom. I don't want to be strapped down to some job or anything where I'm underneath somebody's thumb that can tell me what to do or dangle a carrot stick in front of me, threatening to pull my livelihood away from me. So that's who I am. That's like the umbrella version of who I am. And from there, it's all these little microcosms of what I like to make with my free time. And the best way, I guess, I like to sum up lately is we have a birth date and a death date, and there's a dash in between. We get just one dash, at least I believe anyway, one singular dash. So we might as well be in control of that dash instead of being controlled and manipulated by the money dependency to pay our bills and eat. So therefore, residual and passive income only makes sense, and it's stupid not to have it. So that's who I am and what I believe in a nutshell, for a quick overview.
Okay.
And what was the second part? Where am I at? Was that?
You're in. Where are you from? Where are you
Geographically.
from? Geographically.
I'm from San Diego, California, which I love saying that because it's so beautiful down there. Just below Orange County. Orange County is also very beautiful. Not to be confused with LA County.
Yeah, no, never ever confuse Orange County with LA County.
Never.
We were talking about this before. That is like the scariest thing in the world to do.
I know. And I live in, get this, it's going to be a shocker, Kenosha, Wisconsin. And I do love living here too.
Do you like it?
Yeah, Kenosha, Wisconsin is great.
Okay, so being from Southern California, that's a huge difference. Talk to me about that. What's that like in Wisconsin? Besides, I've heard they have great cheese. I mean, seriously.
Except I'm kind of illegal by default living here because I'm anti-dairy.
You're anti-dairy.
Imagine that. Don't get me wrong, I have a cheat now and then, but in principle, I'm anti-dairy because everything about it is bad for you. So by default, I'm illegal just by living here in a cheese state. However, I do love Wisconsin for many reasons. We get a full dose of all four seasons. We have lots of lakes, rivers, forestry. Wisconsin is a pretty free state in comparison to the rest of the union, where there's so much regulation. You feel like you got a freaking noose around your neck. Still have a lot of liberty here in Wisconsin compared to other states. So I love that. Kenosha specifically, where I'm living in Wisconsin, is right on Lake Michigan. Lake Michigan is so beautiful where I live. I can't tell you how many times I've taken pictures of the sunsets over Lake Michigan, and I'll post them, and people know I like to travel and go to the different places, and they'll say, "So Tom, what Caribbean island are you at today?" And I'm like, "No, this is your backyard, fool. It's Lake Michigan."
Okay, that's something to get gratitude over, like in a second.
Yeah. Mother Nature's masterpiece. Lots of them. One of them happens to be the sunrise that happens in Kenosha every day over Lake Michigan. It looks like the ocean. You look like you could be in the Caribbean Sea somewhere.
Wow.
In freaking Wisconsin.
It's that awesome, huh?
Yeah, it's that awesome. You can go to my timeline and my photos, and I've got certain areas that I've got hundreds, maybe thousands of pictures of the sunrises and videos of the sunrises and sunsets and other things that happen here. It's a masterpiece by Mother Nature. It's wonderful. I love it.
I really appreciate, you know what? I appreciate you sharing that. And first off, because you're talking about the practice that you have to go out and embrace yourself in that beauty and nature and its magnificence, but also because it touches my heart. About 20 years ago, that I like that. About 20 years ago, after I had a near-death experience with a surgery that went bad, I came out of that and I wanted to do something. So it was called God's Beauty, and it was taking pictures of nature. And at that time I was superimposing scripture, and people just weren't catching on to that whole thing. But anyway, so I appreciate anybody when you capture that essence of the beauty of nature and you share it like that, because there's a lot of people who forget that the healing and the beauty of nature is that's part of us, and they forget to step into it. So thank you for bringing that forward, because I think that's a dynamite. So what other kind of practices do you do? So we know you love nature, and I know that you're into health, because I saw that you made your own homemade sour cream. Talk to me about homemade sour cream.
Okay. Well, I have to give credit where credit is due. Jody Page out of Las Vegas. She is known as the raw vegan cheese queen of the whole Las Vegas Valley area. You can find her on Facebook if you look up Peace Begins on Your Plate. She's a vegan. So I learned these wonderful recipes from her. It makes ditching dairy a lot easier with her recipes. Coffee creamers, sour creams, yogurts, and all sorts of other things, different cheeses. So I got that recipe from her. And so I shared a picture today. I did a recipe video a while ago so people can follow along with the video, make their own. It's super simple. It's just a few ingredients. It tastes, it's an orgasm in your mouth. It's amazing.
Okay, it sounds pretty freaking awesome. And so it's a vegan recipe. I mean, I was just like, how in the world is this going to work? Because I've had some vegan food that is just like over the top. You never know. It's just amazing. Last orgasm I had in my mouth was the Cuban in Florida. It was freaking insane. Oh my God. Seriously. I bit into that thing. I was like, oh, okay, mind you, it has dairy, it had pulled pork. Okay. It was not anywhere near vegan. In fact, it was not, it was the opposite. But, oh, can I tell you, seriously. Oh.
Yeah, you had an orgasm in your mouth.
Seriously. Yeah. Well, I mean, no, isn't that what you just...
Well,
yeah, that is what it is. I mean, actually, you know what? My friend Alan Borgen is a food critic, and I absolutely love him. And in the Inland Empire, out in like Rancho Cucamonga, and we were actually talking about a show about that, because there is just some food. It's like there's some that is the sense of the taste sense. It's not coming out right. Is so fabulous, and in it this just to have that sensation of yummy food that you're not overdoing. So let's say it was healthy. Let's just say it was healthy food, like the homemade sour cream. So, you know, but I appreciate really good food that you don't have to, I mean, something that just tastes divine and in that moment, sort of like when so this is a really good thing. We're talking about being in the moment, just like when you take a bite of something that's just so delicious and scrumptious, and you just savor it. And now I'm still talking about it here a month and a half later, you know, about this moment that I had with a Cuban sandwich.
My mind goes in at least 2 different places at the same time. It's fun.
You know what? Spark the G Vibe Sunday gratitude moment and a half right there. That's what it's all about. This is about laughter and raising your vibration. So this is the beauty in life. This is the law of attraction and action for me in my life. You know, that magnetic pull of awesomeness. Like, you know, and so let's talk about some other ways that we embrace the moment in life, because we know that you love nature and you go out and you do that. What other types of ways do you embrace the moment?
I guess I love art of any kind, as long as it squeezes out some kind of an emotion, whether it's music or it's something written or spoken, or food. And by the way, to get back on the topic of food, I love it any time that I can marry the concepts of tastes amazing and super duper medicinal, because I don't want to be a cash cow sucker to the establishment of pharmaceutical companies and victimized for-profit insurance companies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand that lifestyle of being a cash cow sucker for the establishment of pharmaceutical companies and victimized by for-profit insurance. It makes no sense to me.
Okay,
so
let's go there. No, let's go there, because sure. Jay Rothman is watching right now. We were just on the other day and we were talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
So go for it. Talk to me about that. Talk about food and it being a medicinal and go for that.
Okay, I'll just go off the cuff then.
Go for it. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the most common way that we interact with the earth is we grow stuff. So you fly in an airplane, you look out the window, especially if you're over the Midwest, and you see endless fields of stuff that we grow. And it's mostly genetically modified corn and soy, which the establishment has a stake in because they genetically modify it. And their goal is to manage people of every sickness under the sun and heal them of nothing. They want to drag out the life of a tomato as long as they can. The real tragedy is when somebody dies because they lose a customer.
Wow.
So what I like to do is to get away from that nonsense and get back to plants that don't come from a plant. I eat a lot of plants that don't come from a plant. They come from the freaking soil that has all the nutrients it's supposed to have, real food. And that way I'm less likely to ever be a customer of pharmaceuticals, and I'm less likely to ever be victimized by for-profit insurance. Now, having said that, I am not categorically opposed to the pharmaceutical industry. I think that ever since private money got introduced into politics, they lost their way, and the leadership of that industry needs to be decapitated and replaced with people that remembers why they're supposed to be in the pharmaceutical business. So having said that, there's a time and a place for everything, but I think pharmaceuticals should be a last resort, and if there's an acute necessity for it, thank God we have pharmaceuticals, but otherwise we should be living off the land in non-genetically modified ways and giving the soil all the nutrients they're supposed to have and giving back to the land, being sustainable, a new deal, green technology revolution. And because seriously, who in their right mind wants to be a cash cow sucker to pharmaceutical companies whose only goal is to manage your sickness and cure you of nothing? That makes no sense unless you hate yourself. But I don't think most people frame it that way. But if people did objectively frame it that way, because it is objective, not opinionated, that it is what it is, then maybe people would be a little more motivated to maybe eat real food instead of genetically modified crap, and take on the worthwhile challenge of making real healthy food taste good, but being medicinal at the same time. So now here's a real chance to have your cake and eat it too. Medicinal and tastes good, and less likely to be a pharmaceutical customer, a sick hospital patient, or victimized by the pharmaceutical industry. I mean, that's a beautiful win-win-win-win. And you'll have more money too. Oh my God. The average person that goes for the cheaper food, they will spend more than 6 figures over the course of their life on healthcare related costs. What a sucker's game that is. Oh my God, that's so incredibly obnoxiously stupid. So,
well, yeah, and I'm going to agree with you on every single count, but the word stupid is more like uneducated. It's more like not. You can't know something till you know it. So I don't vibe on that word, but let's go to all the awesome stuff you just said, because you really did. I want to embrace everything you're saying. What you're bringing forward right now is some seriously beautiful words. Moms Against America was one of my very first experiences with the non-GMO lifestyle, and they showed me a movie called Anai, Anai, and it was amazing to me to see that corn over in Kauai, that this is where the bioplants are. And they're burning the sugar cane, they're burning the corn, they're burning this stuff, and this is where they do all of their like research and stuff like this. They burn these fields, and the kids are getting sick, like the entire school's getting sick. So this is a really big thing. Does anybody who's watching, do you guys understand or realize that corn is the biggest culprit of GMOs? Like literally, that's my understanding. Corn and soy.
Hawaii is the guinea pig, unfortunately, by companies like Monsanto. Yes. Corn, about 90% of it, from my understanding, is GMO. So there's still a little bit of corn that's fine, but most of it is a GMO product for sure. And so is the soybean crop. And to go back on the agreement versus disagreement, I make a distinction between behavior of people and the people themselves. So I think everyone has an internal genius inside of them. Very few people tap into it. So people behave extremely obnoxious and stupid and self-absorbed. We tend to do that.
Yeah, okay.
There's an internal genius. So I like to make that discernment when I say things like obnoxiously stupid and self-absorbed, talking about the behavior of people. And I could probably do a better job of communicating that, but that's how I objectively see it.
That's very fair.
And also, here's this. Very few people are curious to ask questions. Most people make statements, and you can't learn anything when you're making statements. So very few people will ask questions, and most people will make blanket statements. And a blanket statement is very lazy because you no longer have to think, or use your critical thinking faculties to make nuances and make discernments and so on and so forth. And so a lot of the people are, from my observation, are very mentally lazy, which causes them to make excuses and blanket statements so they no longer have to think or search for answers. Therefore, they're behaving obnoxiously stupid and self-absorbed, not tapping into the genius that is inside of them. And one of my passions is to call people out on their bullshit. So that's cutting through the bullshit at its core, at its fundamentals.
Actually, it's very, you know what I dig is because we talked about, I said vulnerability and authenticity is what I dig. So thank you for being so real, because I hear what you're saying. These things are your observation, and I appreciate your observation, but I really appreciate, tell me, so we know that we know that GMOs are, this is a really very serious thing. That stuff. I'm allergic to MSG, and I found out the hard way by eating at Benihana's one time, like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I had like the worst headache known to mankind and couldn't figure out why. But the fact that they're modifying it for a reason. Now, you're in Wisconsin. Talk to me about what that's like, because what's the soil like for you? Here in California, it's pretty tough. There are some organic farms, but not like what I would think there would be in Wisconsin.
I think it's largely the same in all 50 states, where the organic farmers are the minority and the non-organic GMO farmers are the majority. And that is precisely because farmers that are not organic, that use GMOs and grow enough corn and so forth, they will have up to 40% of their income subsidized by the federal government or taxpayers. So there's an incentive for them to make poisonous foods that's toxic for us.
Oh my God.
The organic farmers do not get any of their income subsidized. In addition to not having their income subsidized, they have to pay fees to say that it's organic. And that's why it's more expensive at the checkout, even though the production of it and the manufacturing, there's really not much of a cost difference, if any at all. In fact, it might be cheaper. But at the cash register, there's going to be a difference because of the federal government. And the reason the federal government does that is because of the lobbyists in Congress and the bribe money in politics for pharmaceuticals, nonprofit companies, Wall Street, chemical companies. They bribe the politicians with millions of dollars to make laws in their favor against the rest of us. That is the only reason why there's a price difference at the cash register. So the end-all solution for that, really, from a government standpoint, is to get all the bribe money out of politics, amend our Constitution to ban all private money from politics. We have 100% publicly financed elections, and then we can have a government that represents the people instead of private big money interests.
Wow. Okay, that was actually, I knew that the farmers were having to pay more, or having to pay to say it's organic. I didn't realize that the other farmers were being paid to grow that one is a new one. So 40%, huh?
Up to 40%.
Up to 40%.
Yeah. That's why when you fly in an airplane, you see these huge, massive crop circles and farm fields that are GMO.
Wow.
They have up to 40% of their income subsidized by us, the taxpayers. So I've always said, if I could write the farm bill, I would simply reverse it. I'd be like, okay, if you're going to do GMO foods, you get no subsidies, and you're mandated to put a skull and crossbones on all the labels of your products. And then the organic farmers, let's subsidize 40% of their income. Now the incentive is totally flipped. Therefore, we would no longer have GMOs or toxic food, pesticides, herbicides, and all that stuff. We just have nothing but healthy food, and it would bring the cost down a lot. But the reason we don't have that is because we do not have a representative government, because do you have millions of dollars to compete with private billion-dollar corporations to bribe politicians? No, you don't.
Not the last I checked.
No, the average person does not have that. So it's a layup down the middle for you.
Not the last I checked. I'm working on manifesting millions of dollars. Tom, you know what? You are bringing so many awesome. Not only perspective, your perspective is great, but also your knowledge base is very good. I'm going to take a look at some of the questions here and see what chat's saying. What do you think?
Go for it. I love questions.
Okay, let's see what's going on here. So I'm going to go back up to the top and say, hey, Barbara, Cecilia, John, Sherry, and let's see. Hi, Jay. How's it going? And bomb bombs from TJ saying, I'm not sure what that meant. Let's see. So Gina says fear-based society.
Yeah.
Yeah, conditioning, fear-based society, limited beliefs, all of those things fall in that. Jay says people don't know what they don't know until they wake up. I said, true, till they wake up. And what he's talking about, it took a massive heart attack for him to wake up. We were just
We
talking about
all
this the other day.
we all have those trigger points, don't we?
Triggers. Oh, what a good word.
We have catalysts and we have triggers in our lives all the time. And some of them are a blessing and some of them are not. But we can make all of them a blessing depending on how we respond to them.
I am 100% in agreement with you because triggers, good and bad, I welcome, because without your dark, you don't know your spark, is what I say. And the dark is there to teach me a lesson. I ask it, what are you here to show me? What are you here to teach me? So it's a growth tool. So my triggers are my friends, because my triggers show me an unmet need, an unmet something that I'm not nurturing. So thank you for saying triggers. And let's see if we have any. Barbara says that her and her son were just talking about this today, talking about food, talking about GMOs. That's interesting. And Peter says your health is your wealth.
Yep. So
Gina,
is money. Health and money as well.
and Barbara, Gina says they're slowly killing us if we allow it. Thank you for adding if we allow it. Gina also says big money, power, abuse, blind society. And
so a lot of agreement. Any questions out there?
I do have a question for you. How did you become so knowledgeable about everything?
Well, my start was a little over 10 years ago. The girl I was dating at the time, she got involved in the network marketing business. Okay. She invited me for 3.5 months. I said no, but then I said yes. So with that, the number one priority in that network marketing business was personal development. So, and I took it seriously because I was, almost destitute and I was scared to death of being homeless. And that was actually my big motivator to do the health thing, because the network marketing company represents a health and fitness product. So I was like, okay, that's pretty motivating. So it's all tied to money. Well, I guess I better get help. I really did want to get healthy too, but that was really the kick in the pants I needed. So anyway, through the journey of personal development, it was one discovery after another. I think one of my early major discoveries was, dairy. Okay, I got to ditch dairy. And then meat. And then ditching meat altogether didn't work out for me. I tried that. But most meat I've ditched. All dairy I've ditched. Eating a plant-based. So instead of vegan, because I'm not vegan, you either are or you aren't, and I'm not.
Okay.
So I eat a plant-based whole food diet that works really well. But no dairy, except for the occasional cheat. But I haven't had a glass of milk in I think about 8 or 9 years now, or something like that. Okay. And I made all these discoveries, and I saw these whistleblowers. I discovered Gerson.com, by the way. I always plug them in. They're a nonprofit organization. They heal people of all cancers, all stages. They typically get people who came from the medical community who said, go home, get your finances in order, prepare to die. And they go to Gerson, and many of them, not 100%, but many of them go on to heal to the medical community's dismay. So I love Gerson. They're one of the only nonprofits that I actually donate to because they're real. Okay. So I started learning all of these things. And, it's been over 10 years now, so it adds up. I'm not the brightest guy in town, but I'm consistent. I'm very consistent. I'm more consistent than most people that are smarter than me. So I've just accumulated, I guess, more than most people that are smarter than me because they quit. Most people are a bunch of quitters, but I never quit. So I've just accumulated little bits at a time over the past over 10 years. Best answer I got, just consistency.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's honest, and consistency, persistence. That was one of the things that Bob Miller, who was a friend of mine before he passed away about almost 2 years ago, and persistency and being consistent were his thing. And practice, gratitude, success was his other thing. I met him, though, like you and I were talking about, through MLSP.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, almost, I was thinking 3 years. Mine might be 4 years ago. I'm really not sure. And that's how I was introduced to Ray Higdon and Eric Worre. And I love those guys. And they're so powerful. Brendan Burchard.
Brad Burchard, he's amazing at
Oh God,
powerhouse. Oh my goodness, that dude! Wow.
he's fabulous. And I was telling you about Robert Hollis. He's another absolute favorite of mine. One of the things that I like about, I'm not in a network marketing, but one of the things I do like about network marketing, about the individuals that are involved, is the ones that I just mentioned, and yourself included, is the self-development. Because what I have seen is, because they listen to Tony Robbins, they listen to Napoleon Hill, you know, and they listen to all of these great teachers, and they bring forward a lot of wisdom. And so I really appreciate the things that I've been able to embrace from these individuals. So now you brought up the network marketing. What is it that you do?
It's a company that does health and fitness.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I love about network marketing is I never have to brand the company. I brand me. So if you scroll up and down my timeline, I don't really talk about it or drop names. I'd rather talk about things I like to. The company, I mean, if you really want me to, I'll give away the name brand, but typically I don't. I don't have a rule against it. I just typically don't, because I want people to have a conversation with me about their goals. And once they know what they want and whatever else that's relevant, I can recommend something that I think would match up perfectly with what they want.
Okay.
So it's all about health and wellness and fitness and home fitness and making money, residual money, making residual money while adding health and wellness to our lives. What an idea. So there's a lot of people that are not going to be around 5 or 10 years from now because of how they are health-wise today. They're going to be dead, people we love and care about. So I'd like to intervene, at least offer something that could help them out. Maybe they'll be around longer than 5 or 10 years from now. I've lost people just in the past. Wasn't planning on talking about this, but my dad passed away 6 months ago. And he was, I had a great dad. I was very lucky, man, because we don't get to pick our parents. You know, I got a great mom and a great dad. I got to keep my dad around longer because of this network marketing gig.
Okay.
I got him into the product. It helped him out. His doctor said, wow, you have no right to expect to be alive, much less doing as well as you're doing, as long as you're doing. So keep doing what you're doing. It's like, wow.
What a blessing.
Yeah. So I don't know how much longer I may have helped to extend his life by getting him into this, but he did just pass on 6 months ago. And we got started about 10 years ago. And he wasn't supposed to be around nearly this long. It was maybe 8 years ago is when we first heard from his doctor. He wasn't even supposed to be alive anymore. So, and I can't make any claims because the FDA could, go after me. So you guys can connect the dots on yourself. Mm-hmm. Just saying. So yeah, there's all kinds of people 5 to 10 years from now that you love and care about who are not going to be around. Same with me, same with all of us. And so some people are going to change and some people won't. But my dad was one of those that decided to introduce some new things to his life that really helped him out. It was a delicious chocolate shake, to be honest with you, a plant-based, raw, organic, free of GMOs, all that nonsense, a chocolate shake that he enjoyed drinking every day. And that helped, I believe it helped extend his life by a number of years. And I got to have my dad around that much longer because of it. It's just one example. There's others, but that's one I'll talk about now because my dad, he was a rock solid figure in my life, man. I mean, the earth feels like it's off its axis ever since he passed on, and I'm not sure if it's ever going to feel normal again. It's just, wow. Anyway, I'll move on to that now.
Well, I want to take a moment, and I would like to acknowledge the fact that you lost your dad 6 months ago, and that my heart is with you, and I am here with you. I meet you where you're at in your grief. Thank you for sharing the benefit of what a health change does. I need to hear that right now because I've been making changes in the last 3 or 4 days. When I say this, 15, almost 20 years ago now, I weighed almost 300 pounds. So I had I'd had a gastric bypass. So when it comes to health, I've done a lot of things, but when it comes to shakes and things like that, I'm really knowledgeable. So every time when I hear plant-based and yummy, you catch my attention because I love plant-based. But back to your dad and your grief. Well, first off, I want to to tell you that I appreciate you. This is such a beautiful thing to hear about the experience that you were able to have with your dad and have him here for 8 years longer. Let's talk a little. We understand that what we put into our body is so important, but also I'm a very firm believer in Dr. Bruce Lipton and his work, and Dr. Greg Braden and his work, the scientists who talk about the belief of biology. What you believe and that type of thing has a direct correlation upon your body. And so the positive thoughts and those things is definitely do help, I feel, because I've been through so much illness and so much stuff. And it was 3 years ago I walked away from Big Pharma. For me, I've got a big thing with it too. Okay, huge. And so when I'm hearing you, you're just touching my heart on so many levels right now. Because I have faced these decisions to, I faced death in my own life. I faced it for myself. I've faced it from the people. To know that my mental attitude has a lot to do with why I'm here right now. Yes, changing my diet is very important, what we put in our mouth, because you said your body is fuel that we're feeding. It's medicine. The food, use it as your medication, not medication itself, even though there is a place for medication. Mm-hmm. So your dad was able to stick around for 8 more years. Is it safe to consider that his mental attitude, given your awesomeness and your fabulous outlook, that his was also in check? And have you heard of Dr. Greg Braden and Bruce Lipton?
I haven't heard of them.
Okay.
But yeah, my dad's spirit, to answer your other question, I mean, he was a career naval officer, loves his country, and proud of his service to this country, had a fighting spirit. So it wasn't just the yummy chocolate shake. He had the spirit too. It's a summation of everything. You know what I mean?
I love it.
It's never a monotherapy. Health doesn't work that way.
No. My body, mind, and spirit. Body, mind, and spirit, most definitely. And that is, grief is probably one of the hardest things. I think that was a pinnacle point for me when I had 2 years ago, 3 people, boom, boom, boom. My children's father passed away almost 2 years ago as well.
Sorry to hear that.
And so I'm sharing this with you right now because I want to really step into this space with you with grief. And I want you to know that when we bring these things up, that my heart fills your heart, and that I think everything that you're bringing forward right now with your experience with your dad is so important, because that's going to help a lot of people.
I hope so.
I know so. I like firming up those affirmations, man. I know so. It is done. It is taking it down. I take this something I heard you say on a video. You either got to have big cojones or big, what is it, ovaries?
I said big testicles, or for you ladies, big brass ovaries.
Big brass ovaries. That was pretty funny. You know what? I'm a girl, but I've got big cojones. And I grab this universe by the horns and say, okay, we're doing this thing. And so I am very blessed right now that you are here and that you have shared the experiences that you have.
Thanks.
You are quite a dynamic young man, I have to tell you. Let's see if anybody else have any other questions for you. Well, they're all saying they're sending their condolences. Dr. Dan Rogers?
I don't know him.
Mary has met him, and we're very up on his program. I'm not sure what that is, but okay. Without a doubt, beliefs can kill. Yeah, that's the epigenetics and the belief systems and things like that Dr. Bruce Lipton, the scientist, teaches are really, I think you're really going to dig him. A whole lot. Gina says, I'm trying to save my dad. I think of him when you talk about health and loved ones. You know what, Gina? You should hook up with Tom and see what more he has to share. And that's kind of how I feel about that. And Gina says, thank you for being here. Most definitely. Working with the mind is tricky. Well, yeah, it's tricky. Working with the mind. You know, really, I've shared today, and my current thing has been that we don't need fixing, and doing the best we can do every day, but just us as beings to think that we're broken in the first place, it just gets my damn goat, because it's like, I'm not broken. What the hell is that shit?
I think our personal philosophies can be broken and can use some improving or some tweaking or development. But it goes back to what I was saying earlier. All of us have an internal genius, right?
I totally do too.
Most people behave very stupidly, but our personal philosophies can always use refinement and improvement. Maybe some of our beliefs are shattered and broken, and they just need to be bad philosophies swapped out for good ones, something like that. So it's important to make that discernment between the person and the beliefs. I mean, it's like, it goes along the line of love the person, hate the behavior, especially when you're disciplining children or whatever. Like, I really hate what you're doing, but I love you.
Right. And yes, most definitely. One of the funnest things that I like to do in life is observe. I had a lot of codependent skills. I used to. And I'm working on those every day, though. And they still rear their ugly head. I still have, but sloughing away the old stuff, the old belief system, I'm all about that, because the old belief system houses limited beliefs. And I believe in limitless possibility. I believe in a sea of limitless possibility. And that when I look at the sea of limitless possibility, I see all of these different possible outcomes, and what vibration and what energetic level do I want to be at in my thoughts, which connect with my emotions to create the feeling, to keep me in alignment with that desired outcome for what I'm looking at. And I look at everything as being a limitless. I think we are limitless in what we can create, manifest, and be in our life as an individual. That's for me today. What I'm working on is seeing myself, but it's changing those belief systems and the shattered belief systems. And you're 100% on point, because that is pinnacle. But when we get to that point where we start seeing what was working isn't working anymore, that's when we know that it's time for a shift or a change. But it's all internal. But that all comes to knowing in self-love and self-care and self-nurturing. So what brought you onto your path of self-love?
I guess that goes back to when I got into network marketing, because that was a big catalyst for me for personal development all around, as far as learning mechanical skills as well as mental mindset skills and self-love and all of those things. And that was the big catalyst, network marketing.
That was a bit. And who's your favorite go-to? Like Dr. Wayne Dyer is one of mine.
Sure. For financial education, which is big with me, Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad Company.
He's
I recommend
awesome.
all their stuff.
Him.
For just the overall network marketing profession, maybe Eric Worre. As far as how to do mechanically the network marketing profession, Ray Higdon, by far and away, actually.
I agree.
For personal development and mindset stuff, I would say the late, great Jim Rohn. And Ralph Waldo Emerson, a bit older.
Agree.
I love the philosophical thinking people, but I also love the mechanical people too. I don't. Most of my personal development now. This is really important. When I first started, I was coming out of excuse mode, like everyone's full of excuses. That was where I was coming from 10 years ago. So most of my personal development was spent on mindset stuff and positivity and this and that. And maybe 20% was on like how-to mechanical stuff. Nowadays, I think maybe 95% of my personal development is how-to mechanical step-by-step stuff, and 5% is maybe mindset stuff, because that's where I'm at now. I'm so sufficiently motivated, like nothing's going to take me off course. So I don't need that stuff as much. Still need it in small doses, but the majority of it. So that's, you have to know where you're at with your personal, you have to be honest with yourself. It's like, if I'm having a bad day, am I going to talk myself out of showing up and doing the actionable stuff that I need to do? The answer is yes. You need to spend most of your time on the personal development stuff that attaches to your mind, your mindset. Now, if you're the type of person where you're in this place where come hell or high water, I'm doing my profit producing activities every day, even on the days I don't feel like, for sure, not even a question, then maybe most of your personal development needs to be spent on mechanical how-to stuff. And that's going to shift at some point as you become more consistent with what you know you need to be doing.
Okay. So, and I appreciate the sharing the different teachers and things that you've listened to, and I agree with you're on point with all of them. I love every single person you've mentioned. So part of the self-love for me is the go-to is self-love is getting at one-ment with self. And when you're talking about excuses, I freaking love those. Those are my excuses. Usually need a ambulance. Okay, because I'm a whiny little shit, and I'm just like, oh my god,
Can you give us a sample?
Oh hell yeah! Oh my god, did you know my son said, and he said this to me, and did you know what he did to me, and she did that, and that, and this, and
snooze.
Dude, I mean, no, I don't do that anymore. But my God, have I had my moments in my life?
Sure, we all do.
Totally. So the ambulance, okay, so when we're pointing out, because I'm looking externally, my old behavior would cause, I would look externally, hey, you're not meeting my expectations. What's up here? And crying about it. So when I got rid of my excuses, but in how to get honest with self, as you just said, what's my truth? What is my truth? What am I needing to self-source is what I call personal development. And self-nurture, do I have an unmet need? Now, am I also going to be curious about whatever it is that I'm looking at externally? Does somebody else possibly have an unmet need that I might need to address as well? But the self-love and the self-first is really, it's really that moment, like when I get at one and I'm one with source and that God source energy. And it may be meditation. A lot of times with me, I'm jamming to music. I mean, honestly, I'll go for a drive or I'll find a space. And that personal development is extremely huge. But I love the fact that you brought up that you recognize if you are in that space and you know it's not a mechanical day and that's just another way of saying I'm self-sourcing. So I appreciate that in you.
Very nuanced.
I see that, and you've really brought a lot of great things forward tonight. Let me see if anybody else has had anything else to say really quick before that we come to an end here. And then I also want you to share again how everyone can get a hold of you.
Sure.
That type of thing. So here we have John says beliefs are conscious or subconscious learned behavior. There's subconscious, conscious, and unconscious. When we can marry all three, so it's coming from one space, your God source. So, tell me.
I have a friend, a brilliant friend. Her name is Sheila Z. Sterling. She's a PhD in natural healing and blood microscopy and all sorts of brilliant stuff. She's a very deep thinking, critical thinking woman. So she's got this thing that she lectures on. It's about your body is made up of 1 trillion different cells. And she asks, what if you could get all of your 1 trillion cells to act in perfect uniform alignment for one focused goal? And it all starts with how you think. It's like you could accomplish anything. And that got me thinking about, holy shit, how do you get all of your 1 trillion cells to be in perfect alignment with each other towards one specific goal? Whether it's getting rich or health or both or I don't know, whatever it is. It's like, you want to make $1 billion by putting a product that helps people out there into the world. But if you could focus all of your 1 trillion cells into that one direction or whatever direction, that's a pretty deep thought. I love that.
That is actually it's fantastic, and I'm going to tell you because that's into the law of attraction. Absolutely, like The Secret. I'm sure you've seen The Secret.
I've seen Bob Proctor speak several times in person.
I love it, and Jay Rothman said you nailed it. Good job. You really did.
Thank you.
You totally did. But I want to tell you what's super interesting about the law of attraction that I've been looking at lately is that it kind of, I don't know, is there a specific, I think that we have, each of us have our own law of attraction, I think that works for us. There's no specific step that works exactly the same for everybody because we're all individual. And what I love is when we share different insight and different ways of looking at it and perspective, that we can sit and kind of work and play and manipulate the energy around the law of attraction, and understanding that we are these divine benevolent beings with magnetic energetic attraction.
I'm not too well versed in that, and I've watched the movie and read the book and all that stuff, but I do know one thing that I believe is true, is that you have to take consistent, relevant action. A lot of people will use the law of attraction as a crutch to take no action, and they wonder why they can't ever get anything that they want. So you have to take consistent, relevant action. Having said that, the thought precedes the action. And that's where I believe the law of attraction really comes into place, is you think something. What you think affects what you do. Your personal philosophy is what you believe, how you hold it, and how it affects what you actually do, the action part. And there's another philosophy that says faith without action is dead, meaningless faith. And I believe that's true about the law of attraction too. You have to take consistent, relevant action. You have to speak how your feet walk. And if your feet are walking in disalignment with how you're speaking, then you're a clown. Well, you're behaving as a clown, I should say.
That was so good. Seriously, like that was fabulous. Oh my word.
Are you recording this?
It is recorded, yes.
Great.
I know, because that was seriously, I mean, that was just yummy. Thanks. You. Oh, it's fabulous. You have been delicious tonight. I mean, seriously, I have appreciated you so much. I am in total gratitude for you, and thank you for being here and for sharing all of your wonderful perspectives and insight. And you know what? I have to also step in real quick, though. I want to agree with you before I wanted to say, I also agree with you. Action is everything. You know, when we're asking for this and that and you see doors open, well, you got to walk through them. You got to go through them. And so I follow those paths. I say, they call me the yes girl. I'm like, I keep saying when I meet Jim Carrey, I'm going to tell him, like, this is all your fault. Because, like, I'm like the yes girl now. And it's all your fault, Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey, I'm so going to meet him. It's happening. I'm telling you what.
I hope you do. And take pictures. And tag me.
Oh, seriously, right? Seriously. But thank you so much again for all of your insight and wisdom tonight, because you have really been delightful. And I'm, again, grateful for you. But I'd really love for people to be able to get a hold of you and talk to you further. So.
Okay. You're welcome, and thank you too. So if people want to get a hold of me, you can go to my Facebook, Tom Birkenmeyer, and you can also go to my website, tombirkenmeyer.com. Take out the space, all lowercase, just as it's spelled here on social media. And I've also got, for those of you that this resonates with energetically, fireyourboss.xyz. Not .com, I couldn't get that one. Someone else has that one. But fireyourboss.xyz, tombirkenmeyer.com, and Tom Birkenmeyer on Facebook. So those are going to be 3 options you have. And if you private message me, I will most likely private message you back. Most likely.
Not a problem. But you might
not a promise, because I get some messages that I have no interest in writing back. So I never say, oh, for sure, just write me, I'm going to message. No. Put a modicum of thought into it. I'm sure that it'll be fine. Everybody watching this video, I'm sure if you private message me, it's going to be something I will want to write back to. I'm sure all of you know what I'm talking about the kinds of messages you don't.
Okay, seriously, I mean, really, I'm telling you what. I mean, sometimes I just sit back and go, I have to, now I'm at the point where it's like, when somebody comes and messages me, I've got to see, like, do you have like 40 or 50 of my friends, please, at least? Because, I get a little, because seriously, otherwise I get I get some messages. I know you're getting it, right?
It happens. And I think you being a female, you probably get more than I do of the unwanted messages, because guys are just sloppy that way.
Yeah. I think most of it's just it's not even, I don't even think it's just real people. I think it's just.
That's another conversation. Yeah, there's a lot of bots out there. I get most of the bots. There's patterns. They seem to come from different countries, military paraphernalia on their page and so forth. And yeah, I get those too.
Yeah, me too. All right. Well, I want to say goodnight. Hang tight real quick. I'm just going to click us off live. But I want to say thank you to everybody who joined tonight. Jay Rothman, thank you, Jay. Jay says, great show. Thank you. Oh, my God, that's so cute. There we go.
Out of the box.
Ooh, what box? Spirituality gone wild. We don't believe in boxes, baby.
And that's why I'm doing this, out of the box.
Darn right. Darn right. So let me, if I can figure out which one it is. All right, y'all, have an awesome night and have spark the G vibe tonight. Don't forget, that's your gratitude vibration, by the way.